now time for a discussion. It is said that it's not what you achieve, it's what you become. That's what defines your career. Our topic for the youth discussion or the youth forum this morning is, how much do my subjects really value in the work world? Joining me for this discussion are Keisha-Ann. She is an accredited master coach at Dragonfly. We're also joined by Jamar McFarlane, Andre Gordon, as well as Akelia Richards. Welcome to Sunrise.
Thank you very much.
All right. We go to high school, so we're at secondary school now, and at about third form, we start hearing things about like career workshops, career day, that sort of thing. But how important was that? When I was going to school, I knew what I wanted to be. I didn't even attend. What was that process like for you?
Well, at my school, they invited persons to come in and, they had a big career day for grade 9. And they invited persons to come in and talk to different students like lawyer, policemen,
the typical professions, and they would sell you on, oh, this is why my profession is better than another one.
Yeah. Yes.
Akelia, was that the same for you?
It was basically the same, but for me, I was not sure what I wanted to become. And so at the time, I had chosen all the sciences and, the sciences and literature and social studies, but now I'm doing strictly humanities. So I had to switch for sixth form.
Ah.
Wow.
Andre, what were your thoughts at that point in time when you were, confronted with, okay, you have to choose?
Well, when I was in 9th grade, I wanted to become a teacher. Yeah, still. And then, I selected my subjects, and then the change, as in my career path changed, to engineering, grade 10, grade 11, because teacher was encouraging me not to become a teacher.
You mean your desire, because you weren't in the profession, your desire then switched? Okay.
Yes. And then, the subject that I selected for teaching is the same for the civil engineering, and that's the subject that I like, so.
You kept with it.
Yeah,
Jamar, tell me about your experiences.
Well, back when I was at Arden, big up my school.
Oh.
Yeah. I used to want to be a pilot, so I took all sciences, but I wasn't so very good at the sciences. Maybe it wasn't my calling. But then by university, went to UTech. I figured out I wanted to do film professionally, and I was studying marketing because I wanted to do it as a business. So I kind of always knew-ish after the pilot phase. I just had it from prep school. I was like, why do I want to be a pilot?
Maybe somebody sold you on that dream.
Right, it's the same career day. It's interesting. So. Yeah.
Well, the expert and the coach, because we tell young people that they have to select particular subjects to go forward in life, and that whatever they choose at third form to do at CSEC is going to be what charts the rest of their lives. What is it like today in terms of guiding them forward?
Well, I certainly think one of the big things is to be aware of the different jobs that are available, because now the career paths are so varied.
Yeah.
And I think certainly one of the big things, and I've been in a school here in Jamaica where they specifically went out of their way to invite individuals from non-traditional careers to come in and talk to the students.
Speak about some of these non-career traditions that you're referring to.
Well, certainly one of mine is a non-traditional career in terms of being a coach. You're seeing the emergence now, certainly in Jamaica, of lots of different life coaches, lots of different coaches, business coach, in lots of different sectors. Also, you're seeing more with social media, things that didn't exist 10, 15 years ago.
Solar energy technicians.
Exactly.
What are those people, and what subjects do I need to do to get there?
And now as well, we're seeing an emergence of the entrepreneur, and actually working with students from much younger to get them to understand and see that this is something that they can do. So I think one of the big things really is to find ways to encourage students and not to get them worried that if they choose a subject now in 9th grade, or even choose a subject at 6th form, that's where it's going to be. If I look at my degrees, my first degree and second degree were all in the sciences.
Right.
And, it was geography with geology, and then education for sustainability. So it's looking that you can always take the information and take what you learn and transfer it. I think that's one of the biggest things about university. It's the transferable knowledge. You don't lose it. And so when it comes to choosing, I think what you had said earlier is that I like it. I really like the subject. I think if you like a subject,
Do it.
do that subject.
But then when we're in fifth form, we would have perhaps graduated with about 8 or even 10 subjects. But if you just like them and you're not thinking about your career, isn't that some form of conflict? Then you're going to have to go back and resit.
Well, I think that's part.
You're not worried about that at all?
No, I
Let's
believe, I believe you can let your passion pay you. So whatever you're passionate for, make it marketable.
All right, let's talk the ones that you like are the ones that you want for your career, that are necessary for your career.
But you said you desired one path before and then 2 years later, you perhaps said, no, that's not what I want to do. So how do you balance that?
Well, I'm in lower 6, so I have another year to think about what exactly is it teaching or civil engineering I want to do. So, and I have 1 more year to think that off.
As a Jamaican student, when the majority of us say we do about 8 to 10, like the brilliant ones maybe do 13 or 12. In Guyana and Trinidad, they're doing even up to 18 and 20.
That's just
Do you
ridiculous.
feel less marketable when you have to compete across the Caribbean?
From my year group, I graduated with 12 subjects.
You did 12. Good stuff. Thank you. Keep the flag waving.
And my pass rate for each of, I getting 3s, thank God, or the 1s and 2s. And I think, me as a Jamaican, comparing with those other students, they're bright as well, that's true, right? It's tough, yes, but, we can just do our best and give what we can give.
Akilia, how many subjects you did at fifth form?
I did 9, 1s and a 2. But for me, I don't feel like with them having more subjects than me, then I am less marketable than them. I believe it's what I do with the subjects. So again, if I have a passion, then I'm going to work hard, because at the end of the day, also the markets they're very saturated. You're going to have competition wherever you go. And even if it's your passion, it still brings competition, but you just have to work hard.
Jamar, so you would have gone to university for a while and at the time you thought about doing, say, marketing.
Yeah, marketing.
But that's not what you're doing today. So
I mean,
how
it's kind of
significant is what you do at that level for your future?
It's kind of funny you say that. I do work at a marketing agency called It's Because of Perfect, but I'm an editor there. I do help with their promotions, so it's interesting you said that. But back then, how it was, getting to that point, I said I went with my likes, what I loved. I love movies, and then I found out, I can actually make those. So, I started going down that path, and it was more of, I did a lot of self-learning. Went on YouTube, and then tried things out, learned with experience. As I think it's important that you have your studies, regular studies, and your extracurricular, but it's important to take time out and really develop. Or give yourself time to really explore.
So like some supplemental learning then. So you have a set path and what else I can aid to ensure that I'm better than the rest.
Yeah, because a lot of the time it's not that we couldn't find what we wanted to do, it's just that we weren't given the leeway to explore. Like we don't have the time for that. We just have to go for a CXC, study and, make money. We don't have the time to explore. Maybe, do I like painting? We don't have the time. We just paint for CXC. Yeah.
I see.
And I think that's a key thing in terms of allowing and enabling and finding ways, because when you're talking about the workforce and you're talking about the individuals that are coming out, when people are looking for an individual to employ, especially depending on where they are, they're looking at the extracurricular activities, they're looking at the give back, they're looking at the volunteering, they're looking at lots of different aspects, because somebody might be absolutely brilliant at taking tests and really not a good fit for your organization. So what I would say is that, when looking at the career path, even after university, I know individuals that one of a good friends of mine, he qualified as a medical doctor from Oxford University, did exceedingly well. He's a farmer.
That's cool.
Everybody has to eat.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's a necessity.
It's a necessity, and he loves it. And I think that is the key, is that you've got to find what you love, and it comes out. Because you can go into a workplace and see somebody that loves their job, and it's there. And you can see somebody that really hates being there.
And it shows.
And it makes everybody's life miserable.
I did I had 10 subjects by the time I graduated at Wolmer's. And then I was doing international relations at UA. Today, I don't do anything that has to do with diplomacy or
Besides when
trade
you
or
fly
foreign
out
trade.
and-
But while I was at university, I had the opportunity to start working in the field of marketing. And I was like, wow, this is what marketing is about. So it was a very practical job, and then I went over into media.
Yeah.
But I think the added skills that you have as an individual becomes important, and how you sell yourself.
Beefs you up.
So, but in terms of how we're tooling or guiding or youth, the next generation, what is it that we need to be doing?
I think
what more you guys want? Tell us, or what do we need to be doing to guide them?
I think one of the things is that schools have to start thinking outside of the boxes. And they do need to start engaging with their alumni, with other people about the different career paths out there. You know, one of the things is you don't just have to be a lawyer or a doctor
Or a nurse.
or a nurse. You know, it's looking beyond that space. And somebody might want to be a neurophysicist, yet no one from that area has come in and spoken to them at the school. Or they might want to be an athlete that plays handball, you know, and handball is in the Olympic sports, right? Or going towards that way. So it's looking that there's so many different things that as educators need to excite and not limit. And I think that's one of the keys. It's finding ways to encourage, and that's through reading, that's through interactions in different places. You know, it's taking those steps.
I want to go back to the students. What more do you want to see?
Also, it should not be a one-time guidance in terms of when we reach third form, we know that, okay, we're going to go through some amount of lectures and so forth, but it should be continuous because at Arden, we have a lecture for both lower six and upper six where they come in and they talk to us about what you want to do at university. And one thing I remember is when they told us to have a life of career and not a career for life. So do not narrow yourself to one thing, but make yourself in such a way that you can probably switch from here to there. And that's your story today.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we hear about how graduates from various departments from UA and UTech, and then they've graduated and they have this big student loan, but however they're not able to get a job that they want, and they're in a call center. Do you fear falling into that hole?
I do.
Yes, I think we all do.
The infamous call center. Luckily, I never ended up there.
But how did you manage not to end up there?
I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, so I knew I didn't want to necessarily work for somebody. So I was always setting myself up from high school. I was doing little videos and editing, and right out the gate, I was able to get a job through my teachers. They say, "Oh, he's good at editing. Let's throw him some work." From like junior achievement, they hired me and stuff, and that really opened the door and showed me, oh, I don't necessarily have to go and work at a call center. I can set up my little craft and say, I do freelance editing, and people come to me, and it worked.
But not everybody is business savvy or had anybody
that's
to
true.
inspire them in that way. So is it a struggle then if I end up working with or as coach, like, I'm sure you'll hear some of them bringing up these concerns. How do you get them out of that rut to go forward?
Well, I think one of the things first is that I work really hard with individuals not to look down on any one job. I think once you're working and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it's honorable.
Yeah.
And I think that, if you work in a call center, then it's about being the best person in that call center possible, and to provide a customer service that is outstanding. And I certainly think if people felt more pride working in the call centers, then we'd have better service, So it's looking at, I think one of the things is to get individuals to understand and recognize that the job doesn't define you. You are you as an individual, and what you choose to do for work is only part of who you are in the entirety. Lots of us do other different things, and this is the reason that I would say I encourage you to do volunteering, to not just focus on the subject areas, to do sports. And that's something that's very important to me. And I think that certainly it's finding ways and speaking with young people to get them to see that no matter what the job is, you choose that to either be part of your path or what you're going to create as an amazing and awesome space.
Should we be focusing, or do you think it's important for us to focus on the jobs that we're going to have or the career paths that we want to have for the future? What should the thinking be?
I think we should focus on the skills.
Yes,
Ooh,
that's true.
Because it's about
answer
the
number 3.
transferable. Yeah, it's the transferable skills.
Okay.
Because you can be in one profession. Now, this is different. If you want to be a doctor, obviously there's a certain path.
Right.
So this is, however, somebody could maybe want to be a doctor until they get to a particular area and then say, you know what? I don't want to be a doctor anymore.
Mario Evans, who hosts with us, he's a doctor, but he also does music.
That's great.
And he pursues both those
Like the
passions.
Twitter.
But for you, in terms of job versus a career path, what are your thoughts on that?
I would definitely want a career, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be limited by that career. So even if I choose to be an attorney, then probably I would write on the side, or I would still be creative, because I do believe in investing in that creative part of you.
Yes, I wouldn't go there with just one career. I would get something extra, in the future that can help you.
And life
In
changes.
case- Yes, that's right.
Jamar?
Yeah, no, for sure. You want to diversify. You want to have your skills and your career path. Because my path is to make movies and shows. But right now I'm making commercials and ads. So it's like a journey there.
Yeah.
And all the skills you learn kind of send you on down that line. But at the same time, somebody said something to me interestingly. You don't necessarily want to be a generalist, because specialists are who are most prized in the industry. So at the same time, while you're getting your other little skills, you have to have a hierarchy of, what's first, second, third. I do both film and music, but I put film first and then music. And eventually you get to a point where you can do both, but you want to position yourself as a specialist, a professional, an expert.
You might spend so much time focusing on one particular area, and then you go there and you realize, yeah, I'm a marketing officer, but I also have social medias. Because don't you think it's good to be rounded?
Oh, it's great. That's what Arden teaches, by the way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But as a coach, I'm sure you would liaise with several HR managers, for example, and when they look at a resume, they start with how many subjects you did at CSEC, how many did at CAPE, and then what are your curricular activities. Are we placing too much value on those tests? Do you think so?
I think it depends on the profession. And I think one of the things, and when you're at a particular age, it is CAPE, it is CSEC. When you then get to another stage, it's the first degree. When you then go to another stage, it is then the master's. And I think one of the big things is to realize that you always have to be learning. I switched careers. I went into teaching. And it was one of those things that I loved working with students, yet I didn't like being in the classroom. And I wanted to be moving around more. And so therefore I started working with students with different behaviors, and actually working with what people would say were the troubled students and getting the most out of them. And so I switched, and I switched by, even after the qualification, the degree, the diploma, the whole process.
You checked all those boxes.
I'd already done those and then switched. And so then I had to learn about coaching, and then I had to take my courses in coaching and then become accredited in that. So I think one of the things is learning is continuous, and so it's about literally going into that space. So if you find somewhere that, it's film rather than music, then it's about, and as you mentioned, you talk about the continuous learning. It's building on, because you're not going to lose any of your learning. So it's about building on it and just getting more excited about it.
Right.
Andre and Akilio, you are the future. You will be the ones going to university next. What is the path in your head at this point?
For me, it is to study law. But at the end of the day, I really love writing, and so even now I start to work on it, so to speak. So I decided to challenge myself this year, and I entered a human rights essay competition. I also went on an interview for Teenage Observer, and so now I'm a writer there. So at the same time, even though I have a goal in mind, which is to become an attorney, I'm still working on the creative side of me. So that's definitely my plan.
Or even looking to summer to get a particular job in the summer,
Yes.
that sort of thing. All right.
Well, my part is definitely becoming a civil engineer. But further down, being a civil engineer, I will take on teaching still, because it's maths is my favorite subject, and I love teaching maths. Right? Anybody come to me, ask me a question, I can help them. You know,
My little brother will be coming to you then.
No problem.
I'll be
From
coming to
my
you.
range, you know, through for first year of sixth form, I've tutored grade 8 students, grade 7, and a few grade 11 students.
So that's your entrepreneurial side. You could become a tutor and get
Yes.
paid to do that on a Saturday or a Sunday to supplement
Yes.
your path going forward.
Yes, so I definitely have the teaching, and I'm not going to throw it away like that, you know. I still want to, you know, take it on in the future.
In terms of the parents, what would be our message to them going forward? Because yes, career day comes, yes, workshops
Yeah.
come up, but what would you say to them? Let's start with you, Jamar.
I'd say to them, be a little more flexible. Jamaica, we have a hierarchy of professions. This is serious and this is joke. For a lot of them, film, music, arts, that was kind of joke. But now it's on the flip side. Film, music, arts, it's the wave right now. It's getting a lot of international attention. So I would say, you know what you want your kid. You want your kid to be successful, but at the same time, give them the room, the breathing area to just explore and do something they like. Maybe you may see as a parent that it might not be so profitable. If you have expertise in that area, you know, okay, the market might not be the best, but still let them explore the area. Let them supplement it with something else. Just give them that room to grow into something, and because it's people, even people past the age of like 30, 40, 50 still don't know what they want to do because they weren't given that time to explore, so they have to do it now. So if they can do it earlier, they'd be much better off by the time they reach like 20, 30. So.
Akila, what would you say to mommy and daddy?
I'd say be a guide to them, but don't live vicariously through the child. Don't, because like for some parents, they did not get the opportunity to probably become the doctor or become the attorney, and so from the get-go, you know, you need to do the sciences, you need to become a doctor. No, be a guide, but at the end of the day, allow them to be themselves.
It's me paying for the school fee. That's what you're hearing. My loan. So you're going to do what I tell you to do. So what would you say to a parent who says that? Either of you. Like, I want you to be an attorney because it's me going to pay for it. I don't want you to go and be a musician. What would you tell those parents? Those parents still exist. What would you tell them?
True.
Andre, what would you say?
Well, I would love for them to, you know, support you no matter what. What that, you know, is your dreams and aspiration. I think you should work towards that, and they should be the person, the number one person to support you towards that goal.
All right, Coach. As you
This
seal
is
off.
where the honest conversations happen. And the honest conversations have to be with the school, with the parent, with the student. And so often what we don't have is we don't have those honest conversations. And not just that, some parents don't know about all of the jobs that are actually available. You know, years ago, a long time ago, no, not that long, 20 years ago or more, people had one job. That was their career. That's what they did
25 years.
their entire
30
life.
years.
We're not seeing that in the marketplace now. We're seeing people move. It's a lot more fluid. And I think one of the big things is we have to have those discussions with parents and really get them on board. You know, everybody else mentioned their school, so I have to mention mine. You know, one of the big things that I love about Immaculate, we have a Big Sister program. And one of the crucial elements of our Big Sister program is that we go in and we talk to the students. And some of those Big Sisters are parents, and they go into other rooms.
Like an
So
added room of advice.
it starts the conversation. And I think it's big is the conversation, and the schools need to have more dialogue and even allow the parents to learn about the different opportunities, because you never know, you might have a parent decide, oh, I want to change career paths. So it's about inspiring.
I want to thank you all for joining us on Sunrise this morning. Such a lovely discussion. We need to
Definitely.
get the student, the schools, and the parents in the same room, and for us to have honest and open conversations. It's now time for us to go to a break, but more Sunrise when we come back. Thank you so much, guys.